What's up guys, Uncasual Gamer here, and today I am talking through my Xbox 360 collection. This is part 2. I released part 1 the end of last week, which you can go watch up here somewhere, floating around. And in that video we went from all the way from A through to about F, which was the first 50 games in my Xbox 360 collection. And today I'm going to be continuing that, and we're going to be starting at F, just behind me here. And we're going to be going along to the end of this shelf, which will take us to L and the next 50 games in the collection. And I'm not going to talk about every single game in the collection. What I'll do is I'll go through the games and I'll pick out any games that maybe are especially interesting, maybe mean something to me, recommendations, that kind of thing. And I'll talk a little bit about just some of the games as we go through. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we finished the last video on the Formula 1 game just here. I think it was 2012 and 2010. And we're kicking off this video with a Formula 1 game as well, and that is F1 2013. I spoke about this game recently on a pickups video. They don't actually stock this game in CEX anymore, so it's not worth a huge amount of money. I think it goes for like £8–10, and I found it in my local CEX randomly, even though it's not on the website or anything, for a £5, so I thought, yep, I'll pick that up. As I mentioned in the first video, and as you'll see as well throughout this collection, I don't mind sports games. I like sports games outside of gaming. Sporting's a big hobby for me, watching sport, football, Formula 1, etc. So you will see sports titles, and I do play sports titles. So yeah, they're my guilty pleasure. And then next up, we have got 3 absolutely huge franchises, especially on the Xbox, and they are Fable, Fallout, and Far Cry. Now, all 3 of these games have got bigger collections. I've only got one of each on the console in the collection at the moment. So we'll kick off with Fable. This is Fable 2. I think Fable 1, 2, and 3 all came out on the 360, and I've just got Fable 2. Great games though, and I think there's a new Fable coming out in the future on the Xbox Series X. Fallout 3, not much I need to talk about Fallout. It is probably the biggest game in the world at the moment because of the TV series, and people are jumping back in to buy them. Also, they've gone up in value quite a lot at CEX. I think they're like £8 each now, the 360 and the Xbox One. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, etc. And then Far Cry. Far Cry is a series that I've never really been into massively. This is the only one I've got, and I don't think I've played bits of it with a friend, but I've never played through the games myself. But yeah, if I'm going to eventually get this collection bigger, then I'll be padding out these and getting the rest of the subsets. We then got Fear 2, which is a game that I've obviously picked up for £1.50. I didn't get this recently, I must have had this for a while. Not played it, but it is a £5 in CEX now, so whenever I bought it for £1.50, I obviously got quite a good deal on that one. And then on to something that most collectors would be hiding and not showing off, and that is FIFA. So I've got FIFA through from 07 all the way through to 15, including a couple of the World Cup games like World Cup Brazil, which I like the artwork on this one. And yeah, I've mentioned already in the video, I like sports titles. I don't need to talk through all the FIFAs. If I had to pick a favourite, it probably would be FIFA 10 or FIFA 12. I think that's where the series peaked. But yeah, let's move swiftly on. And when I say swiftly on, I'm going to talk about FIFA Street very briefly, because FIFA Street is a spin-off to FIFA. It's more of an arcade style. Fast as it is in the tin, it's kind of like street football, so it's a little bit different to your regular FIFAs. More fun and probably got more of a casual player base. So it's probably, if you are going to jump into a FIFA and you're not a fan, then FIFA Street is probably one to try. Then got Fracture, which again is a game that I've not actually played, and I've not really heard much about this. I've had it in the collection a very long time. I got it part of a bundle. It is complete. But yeah, never jumped into it. Is it something that I should give a go? Let me know in the comments down below if you've played it, please. And I might put it in and have a play. And then on to one of the staples of the Xbox 360 and staples of Xbox as a brand in general, and that is Forza. So for 360 was the first era where we got Forza Horizon as well as Forza Motorsport. And I think even Horizon was quite late on in the 360's life cycle. So Forza 2 was the first one, which came out, I think, at launch. This was bundled into, I remember getting one of my first 360 consoles, and this was bundled in. So yeah, really good game. I remember the graphics on this being insane. I remember experiencing mud and rain on your windshield on the 360 after coming from the PS2 and the OG Xbox. And this was the first Forza. I never played Forza on the OG Xbox. This was the first Forza I played. Got Forza 3 and Forza 4 and here 2, which are obviously very similar games to Forza 2, but they are better graphically and got more features in them. And then, as we mentioned, Forza Horizon. These games are I absolutely love the Forza Horizon games. I think we're on Forza Horizon 6 now on Game Pass. But yeah, the first one on the 360, I think number 2 and 3 also came out on the 360. Really, really good games. They're kind of like the Test Drive Limited games, so big open worlds rather than on a racetrack. And then I've got an interesting game, and it's a game that I'm potentially going to mention on another video that I'm planning in terms of video Xbox 360 games that I think are going to go up in value, and that is the Game of Thrones games. Now, I've not played this, but I've heard this has got the most horrendous reviews ever. It's meant to be terrible. However, there are 2 Game of Thrones games on the 360, and the other one is £15 and is sold out on CEX, whereas this one is still in stock. And this one's a £5. So I think this, picking it up now, given the licensing and things of Game of Thrones, I don't think we'll see any, and obviously the series has stopped now with House of the Dragon. I don't think we'll see any more Game of Thrones games on the Xbox. I don't think we'll see this get ported or remade or added to Game Pass or anything like that. So I think this is a game worth picking up if you're a fan of the TV series. And then on to another shooter, another one of, we talked in the first video about how I think Generation 7 was the greatest ever generation for shooters, and we talk about Battlefield, and we spoke about Call of Duty and how I thought they hit their peaks and heights during this era, and so did another one, which was Gears of War. So Gears of War obviously launched with the 360. It was a new franchise for Xbox. Obviously the OG Xbox had another big shooter, which we'll talk about shortly. Absolutely brilliant games. There's a collection, I believe, coming out on the Series X, which will be a remaster or remake of 1, 2, and 3. So I probably would urge you to wait for them, unless you want to jump into them very soon. They're all super cheap to buy, like £1 or £2 each, and they're a staple of the Xbox brand. They're a staple of the 360. And if you've not played them, then they should be high up on your list to play. And then we move on to one of my favourite subsets and favourite sets of games I've ever played, and that is the Guitar Hero games. I've got pretty much them all. I think I'm maybe missing, I think there's like a Van Halen one that I'm missing. I've got Warriors of Rock, World Tour, Greatest Hits, Guitar Hero 5, Aerosmith, Metallica, Guitar Hero 2, and Guitar Hero 3. I've also got about 6, 7 Guitar Hero controllers just off to my side over here, and I love these. And obviously, because of the guitars themselves and the way that they work, the way the controllers link to the console, you can't play these backwards compatibly. You need to have them on original hardware, so on an Xbox 360. And I quite often, even to this day, will choose one of these, plug a guitar in or wireless guitar, and I'll play a few songs. Loved them growing up, still love the Guitar Hero games now. And then carrying on to G's, we have got arguably the biggest games franchise ever, and that is the Grand Theft Autos. We got 3 Grand Theft Auto games on the 360. We got GTA 4, GTA 5, and GTA Episodes from Liberty City, which originally was kind of like 2 DLCs for GTA 4, but then released their own game as well on disc. I don't need to say anything about these. Everyone in the world, whether you're a gamer, not a gamer, collector, not a collector, is aware of Grand Theft Auto and the impact that they've had on gaming and the wider world. I then got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter very early on in the life cycle as well. I remember playing this a lot with a friend. I was never a huge fan of this game growing up, but I know that there are people who love it, and obviously the Tom Clancy series is a big franchise even now, with games still coming out. Then got Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Got this pretty recently. They're kind of shifting in price a lot at CEX. This and number 2. It's the only Harry Potter game I've got, and I've not played it. I've heard it's actually like a Gears of War, like cover shooter, but with a wand. So I might give it a try just because I'm intrigued, but I don't think it's meant to be that good. And then we get on to my favourite set of games of all time, my favourite franchise of all time, and that is Halo. And Halo, man, it peaked so much at this time, Generation 7, Xbox 360. I know 1 and 2 were absolutely brilliant games, and 1 kind of kickstarted Xbox as a brand. And, you know, it was a flagship of the Xbox brand ever since the OG. And then Halo 2 came along and it brought in multiplayer. But Halo 3 for me, with the launch of Xbox Live or the proper launch of Xbox Live on the 360 was real peak in gaming for me. I remember playing this game so many times on a Friday night with my friends, after school or weekend. And yeah, so many memories I've got with this game. And it's not just online that was great. The story on this game was really good as well. It capped off, it really did end like the trilogy, the first original Halo 1, 2 and 3 trilogy really, really well. And it's to this day my joint favourite game of all time. And we didn't just get Halo 3 obviously on this console, we got Halo 3 ODST. I wasn't the biggest fan of this game, but it came with 2 discs, and one of the discs was the multiplayer, I think this is the right disc, the multiplayer map pack disc, and this had all the Halo 3 DLC maps on. And I was never one who had a credit card or a card or anything on my Xbox, so I didn't download the maps as they came out for Halo 3. So when I got the ODST with the disc on, yeah, that was huge for me. Absolutely loved it. And then we got Halo Reach, which was the obviously last game, or the last Halo game that Bungie ever made. And this was probably the last great game in the Halo franchise. I've enjoyed Infinite on the Series X, but I think Halo Reach was probably the last great Halo game. Really, really good. This took a lot of jumps and put a lot of new things into the game. Can't remember what you call them, but they were like perks where you got like, you could choose one of 4, like maybe like a shield or a hologram or something. And that's still used as well in Halo to this day, and it was used in a lot of games. But yeah, Halo Reach, also a fantastic game. And by the way, all these Halo games are super cheap. They're all still £1-2 to buy. We then got Halo 4, which was the first Halo that 343 made, and they still make Halos to this day. I actually jumped back into this one recently on the Master Chief Collection, and I really enjoyed it. It seemed a little bit faster paced than 3 and Reach. Yeah, one that I'd kind of forgotten about, and it's probably a little bit better than I thought it was. Maybe I'm scarred from Halo 5, and I feel like anything 343 have made is terrible, but Halo 4's not. It's a generally decent game. And then on top of them, we also got Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2. I've got Halo Wars 2 over to the side, but it's a special edition, so I'll talk about that in part 3 of the collection. So yeah, Halo Wars, top-down, more of like a real-time strategy version of Halo. Very funny if you like this kind of game, completely different to the first-person shooters like the rest of the series. And then coming to the end of this section of 50 games, part 2, we have got Iron Man 2. I love me some Marvel, grew up with obviously the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, through all the films, kickstarting with Iron Man and running all the way through to Avengers Endgame. Not too big of a fan of the movies since then, but yeah, Iron Man 2, I think there's quite a few of the Marvel games on the 360. Iron Man 2, I've not played it, but it's one on my backlog that I want to get around to playing at some point soon. We've got LA Noire, which is made by Rockstar, who, if you don't know, make the Grand Theft Auto games. This was like a standalone game that they made. A bit random, really, but a brilliant game. I remember playing this, and it's a really good game. It's much slower pace than something like Grand Theft Auto, and it's more story-driven. You play as like a cop, and you've got to essentially solve crimes, but it plays similar to GTA. But yeah, a really good game and an interesting game. And then capping off part 2 and this set of 50 games, we have got Lord of the Rings Conquest. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan, and there are 2 Lord of the Rings titles on the 360. Conquest is one of them, and War of the North is the other. I prefer Conquest. I thought it was a better game. It kind of gives me Return of the King on the PS2 vibes, or on the OG Xbox vibes. The annoying thing with this is that I think some of the achievements are online only, so if you want to pick it up today and you want to go back and you are an achievement hunter, then you wouldn't be able to 100% it. But great game nonetheless. It's really good fun, especially if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, jumping back into the world of Middle-earth. And that's pretty much F all the way down to L, and that completes the next 50 games and the first 100 games across these first 2 videos. So yeah, that's the second part of my Xbox 360 collection and a second 50 games. Let me know if there's any games in there that maybe you've played, that you love, that I mentioned I didn't play and you think I should play. And also whether there's any games I'm missing, so between the F and the L titles, are there any games that, like glaring omissions, that I need to add to the collection? Please let me know. Hopefully I'll be uploading part 3, which will run from L all the way through to S later this week or very early next week. And then part 4 will be the final part of the collection, where we will finish all of the 200 board games, and I'll also talk through some of my 360 consoles, special editions, collector's editions, that kind of thing. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video and you're looking forward to part 3 and 4, I would massively appreciate if you could hit like and subscribe to the channel. That would mean an awful lot to me. But yeah, take care and keep gaming, and thank you for watching.